Just when you think 2020 can't get any crazier, Honda teams up with Tesla, Volvo is teaming up with Isuzu, and Kawasaki is spinning off their motorcycle business. Welcome back, Lexurious Fleet. If you're new to the channel, my name is Kirk. I talk about Japanese and Korean autos and a little bit of motorcycles as well. And make sure to subscribe, hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of my news updates or car reviews. Over at Electric, Tesla partners with Honda to pool sales in Europe and avoid emission fines for the latter. Last week, I just had a news update talking about how Tesla is remaining profitable largely because of their green credits around the world, where other companies pay them to essentially avoid fees from the governments by not having clean enough cars. And Honda is now their recent client here, per se, pooling their sales together in Europe in order to avoid emission fines due to the lack of electric vehicles. Last year, we learned that Fiat Chrysler reached a deal with Tesla to pay the California automaker $2 billion to pool their sales in Europe. And they say Tesla is not the only automaker benefiting from new regulations in Europe. Chinese-owned Volvo recently announced that it will beat fleet requirements and has made a deal with Ford to pool sales in Europe for an undisclosed amount. And we don't know the amount that Honda is paying in. And we know Honda has the Honda E. Lovely vehicle, would love to have it here in America, but its range is pretty limited. It's a very cute, very well-designed, beautiful Japanese little city car. And speaking of Volvo, we're going to head over to the next article here. Volvo and Isuzu Motors signs agreements to capture ongoing opportunities. This is to form a strategic alliance with commercial vehicles. And the primary goal here is to capture the opportunities in the ongoing industry transformation in accordance with the MOU signed in last year's December. The agreement also includes Isuzu's acquisition of UD trucks from the Volvo Group for an enterprise value of 243 billion Japanese yen. I'll put what that means in US dollars. So the joint alliance office will be set up in Sweden as well as Japan. And that sounds eerily familiar because just last week, Toyota and Volkswagen joined their trucking groups. Was it Triton and Hino? And they're pooling them together to work on future technologies, new platforms, electrification, fuel cell. That's pretty much what's going on here, except this is Volvo and Isuzu. And the strange thing is that both of them are having headquarters in Sweden and in Tokyo. Very, very strange. And guys, you can read more of the bullet points, feel free, but we got a lot of news to cover today. I'll put the link in the description if you want to read more about that Volvo and Isuzu team up. We're going to head to the Toyota newsroom, and Toyota fuels appetite for adventure with Supras and Tacoma. So they're still making vehicles, I should say custom vehicles for SEMA this year. And I just wanted to look at some of the pictures. That's really it, because no one's going to SEMA. I'm sure they have all sorts of restrictions with how many people are able to go, but let's just look at the cool vehicles that they made for SEMA. Love this overlanding Tacoma. It's freaking cool. I don't know what else to say about it. I'd love to take it off road. If we scroll down, we'll see some drifting Supras. This one is called the Ornamental Conifer. Looks pretty cool. The next one is called Performance Formula D from Greddy, but there it is. It looks pretty cool, doing some drifting. And then lastly, we have Papadakis Racing Rockstar Energy Drink GR Supra. All drifting machines. Doesn't really come as a surprise. Over at Hyundai's Media Center, Hyundai Motoring America reports October 2020 sales. They're up about 1% this year compared to last October. October retail sales increased about 10%. Baby's crying. Let me get her. I'll see if I can record a little bit with her until she gets too hungry, and then, yeah. All right, got my co-host here. This is Goldie. If you haven't met her, she's lovely. She's going to mess with my microphone. But I wanted to go over the vehicles that are doing well and not so well. The one that really sticks out to me is the Palisade. Now, the Palisade wasn't on sale all of last year, but look at the amount of units they're selling for that huge SUV. Santa Fe's numbers are down, but you got to remember the new Santa Fe is right around the corner. So those numbers are going to go up massively for next year. Sonata down a little bit because I would say, well, one, sedans just aren't doing that well. And then the new Sonata, the 2020, the redesigned Sonata came out for 2020. So that's why there's that sales spike there. Tucson down a little bit, but again, redesigned Tucson is out as well. So they'll get tons of sales for next year on the new Tucson. And over at Automotive News, they're kind of highlighting what I just went over, but what I found really interesting here at the bottom, they talk about incentives per automaker. and how much money the manufacturers give per transaction for sold vehicle. So a lot of times you see, if Lexus cash, you get $3,000 Lexus cash for an ES. All right. Since last October, it's up for incentives, which makes sense. And the incentives this year have been really, really good because of the pandemic. They're trying to move vehicles. They're trying to give people reasons to buy a car now, even if the future is very uncertain for many, many people and their income. However, you look at last month, incentives are way down, probably because there's the rebound is in effect, and sales and volume of vehicles on the lot have gone up. So they don't need to incentivize vehicles nearly as much because of that. And I love seeing the average dollar amounts per unit per manufacturer. BMW and Daimler, which is Mercedes, have very, very high amounts of incentives because their vehicles cost so much. You have to realize if you have a $150,000 S-Class, you'll be able to incentivize that a lot more than, let's say, a C-Class, okay? In theory. So the more expensive the cars, in theory, you have more money to throw at them to move those units. Interestingly enough, Toyota, Honda, Hyundai are all about the same at $2,600 per unit of incentives. It's very, very low. When you look at Subaru, the leader here, under $2,000, $1,700. That's incredible. And ideally, the lower the number, the better, because you're able to move your units without having to shell out a lot of cash to incentivize your vehicles. The Koreans and the Japanese seem to do really, really well here compared to the Germans and the domestic vehicles. They're all about those profitability, and they're continuing to do well even in a recession. Is it a recession or just a pandemic? I don't know. Some people will debate that, but Nissan is going all hybrid EV in China, and by 2035 every new car sold will have to be eco-friendly. Now, China just revised what eco-friendly meant, and that now includes hybrids. Apparently it didn't before. Nissan is saying 100% will be electrified 10 years earlier, so by 2025. Now, electrified means e-power for them or fully electric. We know they have the Leaf, they have the upcoming Aria, and they're going to have all sorts of e-power cars. The only e-power car that I know of as of right now is the Nissan Kicks for certain markets, Southeast Asia, maybe in Japan and China now. And Nissan is planning to introduce as many as 9 electrified vehicles in China by that time. And that doesn't really come as a surprise because Nissan is having a huge revamp of their company because they have to. Profits are gone. They're losing tons of money, and they need to do something radical in order to get sales. Go out there. Are you okay? I think we're going to take a break. I think she's getting hungry. Now on to some lovely motorcycle news. Over at Right Apart, new Honda CRF 250L and rally version of it are unveiled before launch. And they look super cool. This would be a wonderful dual sport or even an entry-level motorcycle for any rider. And yeah, they have the rally gives you additional fairings and a windscreen. It's almost like the Dakar racing version, but I've always really liked the CRF 250L. Super efficient, go off-road, you can go on-road, and they're updating it. Now, I don't believe there's any official, right, because they're teased ahead of launch or shown ahead of launch. There's not any official powertrain information updates. So it looks like they're improving the chassis. It's lighter, it's more rigid, and it has a better suspension. Looks like they're optimizing intake and exhaust systems to improve the bike's emissions. But again, no information on whether the 24.8 horsepower and almost 17 pound-feet of torque is going to be upgraded for the 2021 model. And what I thought was interesting is that rumors were suggesting that they're going to rename the CRF 250L as a small Africa Twin. I don't think that's a bad idea at all. Africa Twin, your entire lineup as long as they're twins. But the CRF 250L is a thumper. Would you call it an African single? I don't know. That's so silly. It's such a silly rumor. But yeah, I think if they called it the African thumper or African single, that'd be kind of cool. Have an African lineup just like there's a Bronco lineup now. Over at Cycle World, Yamaha back in the hybrid game. So they had a bunch of concepts back in the early 2000s for hybrid vehicles, and they're very similar to how the Prius works. It was a parallel hybrid system. Well, now that battery technology has come a long ways, they've shifted with new patents revealing a serial hybrid, more like Nissan's e-Power. In this case, it's a thumper. It's a single cylinder that provides power as a power generator and charges the battery through that system. But there's no physical connection from that internal combustion engine to the wheels. It's all driven through an electric motor. So, and this all ties in with Yamaha's really compact, condensed, and high power efficiency electric motors. And I think that might be my most popular video of all time on my channel. Don't ask how, but they can put those small electric motors inside these small hybrid motorcycles to make them very space efficient, very power efficient, and it'd be exciting. Would you guys be interested? Let's say if you had a scooter, a hybrid scooter that gives you electric power, but you still have essentially a range extender on board to power when the juice runs out of the battery. I don't know. I think it's interesting. And I'm glad they're working on it because range anxiety is a big thing for a lot of people. If you're getting an electric motorcycle, it's definitely a luxury to have electric motorcycle when gasoline motorcycles are so efficient already. You know, we're heading over to motorcycle.com. Kawasaki is spinning off its motorcycle division. What's going on here? Kawasaki Heavy Industry says it will spin off its struggling motorcycle and engine businesses next year as a part of a major restructuring. And they're also spinning off their rolling stock division, which manufactures both conventional and bullet trains. And this will speed up decision making and improve its financial situation. Well, I hope so, because motorcycle sales in Southeast Asia have dropped sharply due to coronavirus pandemic, and they're expecting a loss of $47 million for the current business year. So while the Japanese automakers for four-wheel vehicles seem to be doing pretty well despite, well, not Nissan, but the rest of them are doing pretty well despite the global situation. Yamaha seems to be doing pretty well from the sales I've seen, but Kawasaki seems to be struggling. Down 47 million. It could be a lot worse, but it seems to me they're being a little bit proactive here, seeing the recent trends and separating their companies in order to be a little bit more frugal, a little bit more cost effective with their budgets. So strange news today. None of it really got me excited. You guys can probably tell, like, I'm not like super fired up today. Strange team ups in the auto world. It's just getting weirder and weirder. And that's what I was kind of hypothesizing about a year ago, is that as technologies get more expensive, vehicles get more expensive, all these rules and regulations for emissions and etc. get more stringent, companies have to team together to pool their resources in order to make more compliant vehicles. And I hope you guys enjoy the motorcycle news. I love motorcycles. I love talking about them. I love learning about them. I say love a lot because I just do. I really do love motorcycles. I would love to be able to feature motorcycle reviews and just hands-on moto vlogs, things like that in the future for my channel, especially when I move back down to Florida. And guys, if you made it this far into the video, make sure to smash a like button. Goldie would really appreciate that. And guys, if you're not subscribed, that helps me out so much. And I'll see you in the comments. As always, have a wonderful day. If you're in America and you haven't voted yet, go out and vote. Exercise your right as an American citizen. America. That's what this sticker is. I don't know if you can see that. But yes, have a wonderful day. Take care of yourselves and peace out.